Hey seniors, it's Mrs. Carlson, and I am sending you a graduation speech because I can't be with you. And you guys know me, I would be giving you a pep talk about probably moving on with your lives, and so I can't not do that just because we're not together. And I have this prop right here. I know it's probably the wrong color, and so in black and white you can't really tell what it is, but and here's a tassel from, you guys probably can tell, 2016. This is when my oldest daughter, graduated 4 years ago. So I'm borrowing her cap because she left it here. Lucky me. So the first thing I want to do is just get the two topics off the top out of the way, which is the COVID situation and the George Floyd situation. First of all, I can't take away the fact that your senior year ended crappy. I would never want this to have happened to anybody. And I feel bad that you've missed out on a lot of really cool things, traditions, friends, and I'm sure you've had lots of tears and anger and frustration. And I'm sure when we all left on March 13th, we had no way of knowing how long this was going to go on. Like, we all thought, oh, we're going to be gone for a couple weeks, and nope, it just went on forever. So I am so sorry to you, because I'm sorry you missed out on all those cool traditions that don't come back again. Now, obviously, if you go to college, you're going to get some of those back at some point, but it's still not necessarily the same. And I'm sorry about that. I do really feel bad. And so I hope, there are some fun things that you're able to do over the summer as things ease, or that you're at some point able to have a graduation party. And I'd love to come if you have one, or going away party if you're going to move away to a school that's still going to have classes in fall. The other topic is the George Floyd situation, and obviously if we were at school, we would be able to have conversations and talk about things, and it's so hard when you're not in person and things get misinterpreted, and I will just tell you, it's a horrible, horrible tragedy what happened. It's totally wrong. I think it's disgusting, and I'm glad all those people were charged, and I think the protesting, if people need to protest, that's what they need to do. And I think I've already seen a lot of changes happening, I think, as a result of the protests, which is a good thing. But I do know for your senior year to have COVID happen, and now the George Floyd situation, I'm not saying that what happened, wasn't, I guess if things change, that's a good thing. But it's another trauma that a lot of you are dealing with right now on top of the COVID trauma. It's just a lot to deal with in one small amount of time in your senior year. And I'm sorry for that. And all I can hope is that it makes you a stronger person as a result, that you become someone who can face adversity more than you probably already are facing it right now. Probably when you're a grandparent, you'll tell your grandkids, I remember when in 2019, or no, 2020, I had to deal with COVID and I was locked up for months, and then there were protests, and you're going to be one of those people. I'm sure of it. I can see it now in a couple more years from now. So anyway, I just wanted to address those two elephants in the room and move forward with maybe something that's more encouraging and positive that I can give you to take away if you are someone who's watching this video, as you move into the next phase of your life. So I do have a list of things I wrote down, and as I was thinking about sharing some things with you as you move forward. And I guess what I was thinking is what really matters. You guys know that I've probably been alive on this earth quite a bit longer than you. I hope that what I have to say, at this point, most of you have known me for a while, you find some value in. I'm a pretty much a straight shooter. I don't beat around the bush. For some of you at first that was scary. For others of you, you appreciate that because you always know where you stand with me. I don't play games. So I'm going to be really honest with you about what I think matters. You can take it or leave it. It's my opinion, obviously. But it's an opinion based on quite a few more years into the future than what you've had already. And because I'm not your parent, hopefully you'll take it and listen to it instead of mom or dad maybe saying it to you. The first thing I wanted to share with you that I think really matters is knowing who you are. Okay, a lot of you have really strong personalities already. You're like going in a direction, you know what you want. Others of you kind of just go around, like you guys know I've said, you're a marshmallow, you're an amoeba, you're a jellyfish. You just kind of flip and flop, and whatever happens, happens. As you get moving more into adulthood, you're going to be more successful in your life, in my opinion, if you have more of a direction, meaning I know what matters to me. I know what my values are. I know what my beliefs are. I know what I'm willing to fight for. and what really matters to me. Because a lot of times, what really matters to us in our soul is what drives us to accomplish goals, to pick who we want to spend our time with, to make decisions about, yes, I'm going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. That fits with my values. That does not fit with my values. You never want to be in a situation that you come to that you haven't thought about what you will do before you get there. Even though I'm a lot older than you guys, it feels like yesterday when I was faced with lots of decisions about things that are presented to me. And I have to know, do I want to do this or do I not want to do that? Or, here's something that people are wanting me to participate in and I really don't want to, but I'm not really good at saying no. Now, that's not my personality, but I know some of you have a hard time saying no. That's why I'm telling you, whatever you're doing in the fall or the summer, whenever you're starting it, whether it's job, trade, going to college, you need to really think about what are the things that matter to me and how do I make sure I don't lose those or I don't jeopardize those things that really matter to me. So when you get into those difficult situations, you already know what you're going to do when you're presented with something. For example, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. If you go somewhere and people are doing drugs or alcohol, some of you already know how you feel about that, or you're already okay with it. Some of you have never really had to face that, or some of you haven't had to face the same level of that you may face in college or in the workplace. It's always good to say to yourself, I kind of know where I stand on that, or I know what I'm willing to do and not willing to do before I get to that situation. So those are some of the things that I'm talking about. So values and beliefs to me are really important. Another thing I wanted to share with you is don't be afraid to take risks. You guys know I'm kind of a risk taker personality. That's how I am. Some of you, that's the last thing you want to do. So you have to think about risk taking in terms of either what am I willing to do or what am I willing to risk? Okay. So sometimes some of us are never willing to risk losing a friend over something, even if our friend is going down the wrong path. Some of us aren't willing to risk being embarrassed. Some of us aren't willing to risk being wrong. Some of us aren't willing to risk trying something we've never tried, so we don't do it. I think when we do that, though, we miss out on a lot of opportunities that maybe we would have been able to do if we had taken a risk. What's the worst case scenario? It doesn't work out. Then you try something else. I know one of my kids is very afraid to take risks. That's my older daughter, who is the one that got married suddenly and moved away. But for example, I'll just use one example. A couple summers ago, I have a friend, I think some of you guys know I have a friend who works for NASA. She lives in Houston. I grew up with her, went to high school with her. She went to the UW, yada, yada. Anyway, I had never gone and visited her in Texas. So a couple summers ago, me and my younger daughter went down there and stayed for maybe 10 days. We went all over the place. We got a cool tour of NASA. We got to go in where most people don't get to go. We went over to New Orleans. We did a bunch of fun stuff. Well, my older daughter really wanted to go on the trip. But she chose not to because she didn't want to be away from her boyfriend for 10 days. Well, halfway through the trip, she wants to come down and now it's too late. So that's kind of an example of, take a risk. Do something maybe that you're not really sure you want to do, but then you're kind of regretting later that you missed out. There's all kinds of things that happen like that, right? Where some of us need to step out a little bit more and not be afraid. When you get older, like my age, half the stuff you guys worry about, nobody cares anymore, right? I mean, like I just said, I see one person from high school, and that's the one I see. And that's only every couple of years because she lives out of state. Most of the people you're with right now aren't going to matter to you very soon. So you need to think about yourself and what matters to you and what's important to you. And surround yourself with people that help you make good decisions. And some of that's taking a risk and pushing you to do something maybe you wouldn't normally want to do. Or it's pulling you off the cliff if you're taking a risk that's not good for you, right? You guys know what I'm saying. I have my little list over here of the things I want to talk about that I didn't want to forget. Something else I wanted to share with you is hopefully this doesn't come out the wrong way. I want you to understand that just because someone's older than you or in a position of power over you doesn't mean you always have to listen to what they have to say or obey them. Parents, I'm not trying to tell you not to listen to your parents or not to obey your teachers. What I am saying is just because someone's older or they're in a position of power, when they say something to you, I still want you to filter that. I still want you to think through that. Does that line up with my values? Does that line up with what I know to be true or not true? I always hoped that whatever I said, if you thought it was baloney, you would call me on it, right? I can be wrong. And I'm just telling you, there's a lot of times that's what got me in trouble a lot as a kid is when my parents wanted me to do something and I didn't want to do it or I thought it was stupid. That's how I got into trouble a lot, right? So there's that way of kind of not handling it the mature way. But I am totally into pushback, meaning if a teacher or a professor or your boss asks you to do something that you're thinking, I don't think that sounds right, or that doesn't line up with my values, it's okay to ask about it. It's okay to question. It's okay to respectfully disagree. That's what I hope you do. I hope you learn how to have dialogue that's constructive and not be a drone or a sheep just going off the cliff every time. Think, use your head, use your skills. You guys are all smart people. I want you to question. I want you to find out answers. I don't want you to mindlessly follow along. That's not what we need in this world. We need people who are going to stand up for what they believe in. Even if I don't agree with it, I don't care. I want you to stand up for what you think is right and care about it, right? Not just mindlessly go through life. So my point on that is that, just because someone's older doesn't mean what they're saying is better. Just because someone is in a higher position than you, has more money than you, is a celebrity, is a professional athlete, I still want you to filter what they're saying. Okay, I don't want you to buy it hook, line, and sinker, if you know what I'm saying. Okay. The last thing I want to say is how your life ends up. I'm a firm believer in it's up to you how that ends up, how your life turns out, where you end up in life. I think about, and as a teacher, I obviously get all kinds of students, and I've taught for a really long time. You guys know that. So I get kids who have a lot, who started out with a lot. I have kids who have nothing. And then there's a lot of you in the middle, right? So if you think of as a baby, as a young kid, if you come into this world, some of you come into this world with a big basket of stuff, right? Already filled up, like your parents are already functional, or they have a home to live in, or they have money to spend on you, or you have good health care, you have opportunities, like maybe you get to go on trips and learn about the world, and maybe you get to be in select sports because your parents can pay for those fees, or maybe you get to do music lessons, or you can do drama. Whatever it is you're passionate about, your parents are supportive of that through finances or them being there or supporting your dreams. Then there's others of you that got to do some of those things, right? But maybe not everything you wanted to do. Then there's some of you that when you started out, your basket was pretty empty, meaning somebody had you, right? Or you have parents. Maybe you didn't always have the best healthcare or the same opportunities, or you wanted to do things and nobody would pay for it, which was disappointing, or you've had to move around a lot. You didn't always have all your needs met. I mean, we have kids all over the place, right? But I don't want you to think that that's how it's going to be forever, okay? I look at 0 to 18 as kind of the time where you have less power over where you go in the future, right? You're kind of under your parents' control. They're kind of in charge of you. But once you get to that 18 point, to me, that's where things can really take a turn for the better if you don't like your circumstances. If you love where you are and things are moving great, keep doing it. But I know some of you struggle because you either don't have the funds, you don't have the support, you don't have whatever it is you think you need to move forward. I would encourage you to decide for yourself right now, this is how I want my life to be, and what do I need to put in place to make those things happen, right? Do I need to take out some smaller loans? I'm not into gigantic college debt. That is definitely not what I want kids to do. But I do know there are some less expensive schools, especially a lot of you that don't have a lot of money can get a lot of scholarships, or you can get grants so you don't have to pay those back. Even if you just go to EBCC or any community college, it's a starting point, or you can learn a trade, right? Some of those trades pay really well. But we know all of us don't want to live with our parents forever, right? We want to have our own place. We want to have our own space, however big or small that is. I want you to be fulfilled. I want you to be a fulfilled human being. And if that means I'm happy in a small little cabin, great. If you need a mansion, great. If you need something in between, awesome. If you want to travel, do that. If you just kind of want a mediocre life where I don't have to worry a lot and I'm okay with what my job is, but I don't have to make a ton of money, do that. But most of us know that it requires some form of effort on our part. It doesn't just drop it out of the sky. Most of us don't have trust funds that are waiting for us to turn 18 or 25 and then we just kind of live in the lap of luxury. That's not really how life works. So what I'm telling you and encouraging you to do right now is do something, whatever that is, right? Go where your heart takes you. Try some different classes, try some different jobs, try some different activities, see what's interesting to you. But I want you to realize that you have control of your own destiny. Even if you came from an empty basket, you can make your life the way you want. You can turn your situation, and if you choose to have children, they'll have a fuller basket than what you had, or make changes down the road, right? I am also always here to support you. I will always be your teacher. No matter how old you get, I'm still your teacher. I still love you. I will support you no matter what. Whatever you need, I'm happy to help. And I see this weird thing's hooking on my hair here. I want you to know you mean a lot to me. And whatever I can do to help you in any way, I will do what I can. I am always here for you. I miss you guys, and I'm really bummed and sad, and I'm trying not to get too emotional here, that our year had to end this way. I went through all of my lists of kids, and I kind of categorized you into 1 through 4. I have kids that I've had for 4 years, which in a public high school is super rare. I mean, that's unheard of. You guys are so lucky. I'm lucky to have had you for 4 years. Then I've got kids for 3 years, 2 years, and 1 year. I was thinking I should have made pins or something where if I've had you for 4 years, you get a special pin, and the 3-year people get a pin and all that. But it means a lot to me that some of you have stuck with me this long, and we've had a great ride, I would say. You guys are all amazing kids. I'm super excited for you going into your future. You're all going to do great things. I know how talented you are as a group. I'm excited to see where you go in your future, and I will be here if you want to come and cry on my shoulder about something that didn't go well. I am also here to support you in your exciting, amazing adventures that you're going to go on and have, or I'll be cheering for you from the sidelines. I want to leave you with a quote that probably is really appropriate that it came from Martin Luther King Jr. in the current times we find ourselves in. But if you remember back to probably when I had you as a freshman or sophomore, I would do sort of a presentation about myself on the first day of school. And I had some quotes up there that kind of showed you what I care about and what means something to me. And it probably fits really well with our times that we're in right now. And basically what kind of talks about what I care about and what I hope you guys think about and care about as you go into your future is Martin Luther King said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. That is so important in this world that we're in right now. And as you go into your future, don't be silent about what matters to you. You guys know I always said silence means consent, and it doesn't mean anything, or it's totally appropriate for what we're dealing with now, right? If you don't have a voice, people give you a voice. They judge you. They make assumptions about what you think. Don't be afraid to share your voice, even if not everybody agrees with it. I mean, that's hopefully what we learned this year in government is free speech is just that. It doesn't have to all line up the same with everybody, right? But I want you to have a voice. Okay, if you see something that's wrong, call it out. If you think something should be changed, talk about it, right? But don't be silent. I mean, at some point, you need to step up, which ties into what I just talked about. What really matters? What do you stand for? Taking risks, all those types of things, right? But I've been talking for a long time, so I'm going to sign off, but I think you guys are amazing. I love you all very much. I hope that if you need anything, I am here for you to support you in any way that I can. And I wish you all the best as you move into the next phase of your life.